We are joined by none other than the Minister of International Development. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Ahmed Hussen.
Hi, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be with you. Kamusta po kayo to all of you?
Very well said, Mr. Minister, and thank you for taking the trouble to greet our viewers in Filipino. It's good to see you again, and happy International Development Week.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm traveling across the country for International Development Week, and we're focusing our government is focusing on Canadians, building a better life for Canadians, while at the same time contributing to a world that is more safe, more prosperous, and more secure for everyone. Canadian organizations are working in Canada and around the world, making a real difference to support the lives of people around the world, and we're really proud to support them. When I visited the Philippines last year, I saw the impact of Canada's international development work firsthand. We are supporting women, we're supporting young people, we're supporting entrepreneurs, we're supporting the fight, we're joining Philippines in the fight against climate change, in the fight against poverty. We're supporting the Philippines with value-added agriculture and making sure that we work even more closer together so that we can have more inclusive economic growth for both our peoples.
And I'm very sure, Mr. Minister, thank you for sharing that news with us. I'm sure our viewers who are, primarily Filipino Canadians would be very happy about that because they have extended family and relatives who are still living in the Philippines, so they would benefit from all of these international development assistance coming from Canada. I also heard that you have announced some recent round of funding in connection with International Development Week. Maybe you would like to share more about that, please?
Yes, so as you know, you rightly pointed out, there's a significant Filipino-Canadian population in Canada. 1 in 40 Canadians is of Filipino descent. Since 1986, our government has had an international aid partnership with the Philippines, and we've contributed over $1 billion in official development assistance to the Philippines. Today, Philippines plays a really key role in Canada's Indo-Pacific strategy. We have 220, in the region, we have over $226 billion in trade between Canada and the region, and the Philippines is central to that. But we're also focusing on Canadians locally. And before I get to that, since 2017, Canada has provided over $214 million of international assistance to support health, education, and development in the Philippines. We also contribute to the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And through that, Canada is contributing $1.2 billion globally from 2023 to 2025. Over 220 million of that is allocated to the Philippines, with 34 million specifically set aside to fight HIV AIDS in the Philippines. So we're doing a lot. We're strengthening the healthcare system in the Philippines by helping the Philippines to implement its universal healthcare law. And, we announced support for the Philippines in that regard. I was in the Philippines to announce an $8 million project with the Forest Foundation in the Philippines to combat climate change, another $12.5 million with Alinea International to build climate resilience in 6 provinces in the Philippines that are dealing with natural disasters. And then a $7 million partnership with Plan International Canada to support increased healthcare services in remote communities across the Philippines. But locally, we're also making sure we're there for Canadians. In Winnipeg, families save over $2,600 every year per child because of our investment to set up a $10 a day childcare program in Manitoba. Winnipeg has received over $122 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund to build over 3,000 new homes. So we're there for Canadians. We'll continue to expand and invest in the Canadian Dental Care Plan and the pharmacare, as well as making sure that we continue to support families with children through the Canada Child Benefit.
Thank you for anticipating my question about that, Mr.
Yeah.
Minister, because as you know, our audience understands that you are looking after our international development, but definitely they're thinking about what's going on here in Canada, right? But
Yes.
you just answered that question, so thank you very much. But I also would like to add that this has been a wild weekend, as you know,
Yeah.
because of the recent tariff imposition by the U.S. on Canadian goods.
Yes.
So this has sparked discussions about trade tensions and the broader economic impact. So,
Yes.
from an international development perspective, Mr. Minister, how do you see such trade disputes affecting global cooperation, especially on issues like you point out, climate change,
Yes.
poverty reduction, and sustainable development?
Well,
Please.
I'll answer that by two ways. Number one, first of all, international development is important, and we will continue to do that and engage with the world and contribute to peace, security, the fight against climate change, making sure that people are healthy, making sure that children have access to education, and having people having opportunities to grow and thrive. That we will continue that as, especially now, that's even more important now that other countries pull back. You've seen other countries either cut international aid or pause. We're not going to do that. Second, on the trade issue, these tariffs that the United States has imposed on Canada are completely unjustified. We are the U.S. The best trading partner for the United States. Canada is the number one export destination for 36 out of 50 states in the United States. So we've been a good neighbor. We're a good trade partner, a good defense partner, a good ally, and a friend of the United States. This is completely unjustified. And we have responded and we will continue to respond very effectively to these unjustified tariffs while also supporting Canadian sectors of the economy that are impacted by this.
That was a pretty good explanation, Mr. Minister, and I really appreciate that. And I know you've been very busy in looking after the international development portfolio. So I would like to wrap up by asking you, what message would you like to share with our viewers about the future of Canada's role in international development, and also especially with its partnership with the Philippines? Go ahead, sir.
Well, first of all, Canada has a very strong focus in the Indo-Pacific region. And through the Indo-Pacific strategy, we're investing heavily in deepening our partnerships in the Indo-Pacific region through diplomacy, defense cooperation, trade, and development. And so in all of that, the Philippines is central to that. I'll give you an example. We have established a Canadian office to support the ASEAN region and the Indo-Pacific region on food security and food management and agri-food office. But that office has been opened last year in February, exactly a year ago, by Canada in Manila. Why is that? Because we feel that Philippines is at the heart of our Indo-Pacific strategy. Second, 1 in 40 Canadians is of Filipino descent. That ratio is higher than in any other country. Yes, there's more Filipinos in United States, but in terms of the proportion of the population, we're number one. So the people-to-people familial ties between Canada and the Philippines are incredibly close. And that will enable us to deepen our economic relationship and engage in win-win trade and investment. But to do that, we also have to work together to fight climate change, to mitigate against natural disasters, to push back against soil erosion and coastal erosion, make sure we empower women, make sure we empower young people, work with indigenous communities in Canada and in the Philippines to make sure that people have an equal chance at success. So international development leads to better outcomes in terms of education, health, and economic development. And I strongly believe that when Philippines does better, Canada will do better because of as I said, the deepening relationship. And that deepening relationship is an advantage because it will lead, I think, to even more deepening trade and investment relationship between the two countries. And the Philippines is growing by leaps and bounds economically. It's a very young population. And as they grow economically, they will need more Canadian goods and services and technology. And I have seen how Canadian technology can be part of the answer as the Philippines, for example, transitions away from dirty fuel like coal to generate electricity towards more cleaner options. And Canada, as you know, has good, clean technology to share with the Philippines. So again, it's a win-win relationship, and the people-to-people ties are incredibly strong and will continue to be strong.
Really appreciate all the insights and valuable perspective that you shared about your work in international development, Mr. Minister. Mga barangay, the Honorable Ahmed Hussen, Minister of International Development for Canada. Thank you very much again for stopping by, sir, and safe travels to you.
Thank you.